Hi there and welcome to another edition of the How to Make Money With podcast. My name is Ryk van Niekerk and this podcast is your essential guide to practical, innovative and sometimes downright surprising ways to earn some extra cash. Think of it as your continuous search for the perfect side hustle. Now, opportunities to make money are all around us. You just need to know where to look. And today's topic is how to make money with selling stuff at flea markets. On the line, I have Howard Matheson. He's the director of the Panorama Flea Market. And it is a pretty big flea market in Malbarton in the south of Johannesburg. It's one of the oldest flea markets in Joburg. And it's been around for more than 30 years. Howard, thank you so much for your time today. Just first of all, tell us about the Panorama Flea Market. What is it all about?
So I'll give you a little bit of history about the flea market. The flea market started about 30 years, maybe 35 years ago. It started at an old drive-in that was operated by Steer Kinnikor. And it was a very mutually beneficial relationship to both parties. Steer Kinnikor would have the drive-in at night and we would operate the flea market during the day. We would set up our gazebos and our tables, and the storeholders would operate during the day. They would buy food from the cafeteria of the drive-in, and it worked very, very well for a number of years. And then after a while, Steer Kinnikor got tired of the drive-in business and decided that they would offload the various drive-ins to various people. They approached me and my family, and we bought the drive-in from Steer Kinnikor and then started formalizing the market because now we own the ground. So we could create more permanent structures for our traders to make life easier for them so that they didn't have to worry about setting up in the mornings and dismantling in the afternoon and worry about gazebos and rain and things like that. So we started building more permanent structures on the site. And now the traders that operate at the market operate out of like garages. So they come, they set up their stalls in the garages, and it becomes more of a permanent type shop that operates on Saturdays, Sundays, and public holidays. So they're able to operate a business in a more formal environment than they would previously.
Can you give us a sense of the traders you have? Who are they? What do they sell typically?
They sell anything from jewelry to pet food, from clothing to haberdashery to plasticware. The market caters very much for people, salt of the earth type people. So it caters for the wares that the people in the area specifically are looking for. But it's been going a very long time and people make money out of the market. Some of them make a permanent living out of the market. Others use it as a side hustle to make additional money other than their jobs.
I'm always astounded when I visit flea markets that there are such a divergent offering. Let's start on the food side. Sometimes you get bootjie kos and sometimes obviously the traditional boeries and burgers and sometimes chip. Do you need specific licenses to sell food at a flea market?
You do need a license. You go to the Johannesburg health authorities. They issue you with a food vendor's license. There's certain requirements that you have to adhere to. You have to put things over your head and cover your hands and make sure that you've got running water and various requirements that are needed for the sale of food.
Is it difficult to get such a license?
No, I don't think so. I've never tried to obtain one because I don't sell food. I sell space. But I don't think it's extremely difficult, provided you tick the boxes.
You referred to some people use it as a side hustle. Can you maybe describe the typical side hustle type of shop people put up?
So it varies from guys that are doing tattoos on the weekend to ladies that are making pancakes to vet cook to any item. You know, if you need to make extra money, all you need to do is think out the box and come to the market and you can make extra money by doing anything. You know, I'll never forget years ago, I saw a guy on the side of the road. He was begging. And I said to him, why don't you come to the market and sell something? I'll even give you a free stall to help you. And he ended up coming and selling kites that he'd made out of bamboo and newspaper. So you can do anything if you want to. All you have to have is the will to try, and you can do anything nowadays if you really want to.
Success would obviously depend on the audience and the people visiting the flea market. And obviously that's your job to get people there as the manager and the owner of the flea market. Do you need to tailor your product according to the audience?
Of course you do.
But do the visitors, do that profile change from week to week?
Well, what you need to do if you're planning on becoming a market trader is visit the market, understand the product that you're selling to see that it would fit with the demographics that is visiting the market. Because, for example, if you're selling curios, for example, you may want to go and trade at a market that is more curio orientated. If you come to Panorama Flea Market, you might find that curios is not the biggest market. Even though there are some traders that sell curios at Panorama, I don't know if the market could cater for 20 curio traders because it's not such a tourist destination. So it's very much about economics and understanding economics and thinking about the product that you're selling to make sure that it caters for that particular group of visitors that are coming to that particular market. So you need to be cognizant of what you're selling and where you're selling it. As a trader or a potential trader, one needs to visit the market, understand what you're planning on bringing to that particular market and understanding that it's going to work there or not. The same applies to anything that one does in business.
So different flea markets have different focus areas and it would attract a different type of visitor. What is Panorama famous for? What is your core product offering?
I think our core product offering is products that gear themselves to the people in the area that are very much salt of the earth. They're looking for products that they need, but they don't want to spend a vast amount of money on them. It's not really a touristy market. It's more of a localized market that caters for the people in the area. What we do is we have live entertainment every weekend to attract people to the market. We have a beer garden that attracts people to the market. The traders tend to cater for products that attract those specific types of people to the market. And, it's clothing, it's tackies, it's various items that the normal run-of-the-mill Joe soap would need.
I would imagine you walk through all of the stalls or the shops every weekend or when it's open. Can you give us a few examples of products you thought, wow, that is quite innovative and it should do well?
Now you're asking me a question. Every now and then you'll come across a new stall at the market and you've never seen it before. I recently saw somebody opening up a stall and it was the first time I'd seen it in the 30 years that I'd been there, a tarot card reader. So I'd never seen that ever and I found it very interesting.
What was that?
Tarot card reader. They read your future like a fortune teller. It was the first time. I wasn't sure if it was going to do well or not, but I did find it quite interesting that type of side hustle was occurring at Panorama Flea Market because it had never been done before. I'm not 100% sure how well they did, but it was something different for a change.
Did you have your?
I'd never had my fortune read, no.
So you didn't pop in to see how good they are?
No, I didn't, I must admit. But I did find it quite interesting to see that was something new and different to the market.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
What I like about the market is you'll find various things from week to week, and there's always something different at the market. Some people like flea markets, other people don't. But I like the fact that there's always a variety. There's something new happening all the time, as opposed to a shopping center. A shopping center, generally speaking, has the same thing every time you go and visit the shops. It'll have the same shops. This has variety all the time. There's always new and different ideas and different traders trying their luck to see if they can do well at the market.
Yeah, and there's also obviously a different vibe with live music and a beer tent. The costs, how expensive is it to typically, sell your wares at a flea market?
Well, Panorama's fees, which haven't gone up in a number of years, actually, they've been pretty flat since COVID, since even before COVID, are 2,700 Rand a month for a lock-up shop for the whole month.
2,700. Okay.
Yeah. And we open either 8 days or 9 days a month, depending on how many weekends there are in a month and if there are any public holidays. Or the other alternative is if you wanted to do it on a daily basis, it's 380 Rand per day. So you've got the two choices.
318 bucks a day. If you go to other flea markets, would that be in the ballpark?
Yeah, pretty comparable.
You know, you've got experience. Yeah. What are the biggest mistakes you think traders make when they start out and they maybe consider selling stuff at a flea market as a side hustle? What are the biggest mistakes they should avoid?
I think what is important for a trader to do, which I highlighted early on, is go and visit the market, check that your wares fit in with the environment that market is in. You know, you've got to make sure that what you're selling caters for that particular crowd that's visiting the market. So you can get a general idea. You know, if you're selling, I don't know, expensive watches, for example, they're not going to fit in a market of this type, because the people in this area are not going to buy a 2,000-3,000 Rand watch. It's not going to work. But if you're selling a watch for 100 Rand or 200 Rand, it might very well work. So you need to understand what the other traders are doing and what they're selling before you do it. Also, don't overstock. Don't go and buy yourself 500 watches when you're starting out. Start off with 20 watches. See that it works. If it works, go and buy more watches. Don't overcapitalize. That's what I'm trying to say. Make sure that you advertise your wares continuously. The Panorama Flea Market has got a Facebook page with 50,000 followers. Go to the management of the market and say, listen, I'm just starting out. Can you please advertise my wares on your Facebook page? Check that the market's been around for a number of years. Check that it's not a fly-by-night market. A lot of markets tend to be fly-by-night markets. They'll open for a couple of months and then close. See that the market has been around for a number of years. Do your research. Create some sort of loyalty program. Buy one watch, get another one free. Or if you buy 2 watches, we'll give you a third one at a discounted price. Create all of those marketing ideas. Use ChatGPT to help you create marketing ideas. Those are the things that people need to do in order to make money.
What you're describing is an entrepreneur. You need to be an entrepreneur and see opportunities and then seize on it. And as you've said, if you don't know your audience, like you would have at different flea markets, as you have explained earlier, you're not going to be successful. So is there a big difference between unique products, maybe a hobby, somebody manufacturing belts and wallets and handbags, as opposed to go and buy, belts and wallets and handbags from a Chinese supplier and then flogging that at a market?
Well, it's different. The belts and wallets from a Chinese supplier won't be as good in terms of their quality as a handmade belt. We've got both. We've got guys that do the handmade belts, and the guy complains because he sells one belt and it'll last you forever. Whereas the Chinaman that sells the belt doesn't last forever. But if I'm going to buy a belt, I'm going to buy it from the handmade belt because I know that belt is going to last me for a very long time. So it depends, but you'll pay more for the handmade belt.
But your main message is for people considering selling stuff at a market as a side hustle is do your homework, be an entrepreneur, see what works, see what doesn't work, see what the atmosphere and the clientele are like at a specific market, and then adapt. Are there many people at Panorama who does it as a side hustle specifically? They're not actually doing it as a business or trying to establish a bigger business?
I'd say about 60 to 70% do it as a side hustle. The other 40% do it permanently as a means of earning a living. Some of the traders that I've had over the years have done very, very well for themselves. They've started off as flea market operators and have done very, very well. They've evolved from a trader doing a side hustle to owning shops, to owning buildings, to becoming multimillionaires.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. Just need to be smart and innovative. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Necessity is the mother of all. If you don't have an income and you don't have a business or a job, you're going to make things and you're going to work as hard as you can to make sure that you are able to put bread on your table and feed your family. So some people I know that have done very, very well over the years from markets.
Howard, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your insights. Hopefully we've nudged a few people to turn a hobby, for example, into a business by starting to sell it at flea markets like Panorama.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That was Howard Matheson. He's the director of the Panorama Flea Market. It's a pretty big one in the south of Joburg, and he's been running for around 30 years. And yeah, I think he shared some very valuable insights with us. That's it for this episode of the How to Make Money with podcast. I hope you found it useful and maybe even a little inspiring. If you've enjoyed it, please like, follow or subscribe, depending on your platform, and share it with someone who's also looking for smart ways to earn more. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time as we explore more practical ways to make money.